The game is Die Laughing. It's a short play horror comedy game, GM-less, so we're all playing characters. And the core conceit of the game is everybody is playing a character in a horror comedy movie, and everybody's going to die. And we're all on board for that, yes?
Yeah!
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
And so it's just a question of making those deaths as funny as possible, and a question of when they will happen. So we are going to play through all of that. Everybody who's watching this on the stream, you can see all of our pictures, all of our faces on there. Basically, imagine we're all sitting around a table. That right in the middle of the table, like kind of in between me and Paul, that's the center of the table, which means that Robin is to my left and I am to Robin's right. That is important for gameplay, which you'll see as we go along. Everybody has a character, and we'll introduce you to all the characters in a bit, but basically they're all archetypes of characters that you might see in a horror movie. And they're very simple. You name your character, you make a few choices about some things, and you are ready to go. And you'll see that each of the characters has 4 traits called body, brains, mouth, and spirit. Your body is everything physical about your character. Brains is everything mental about your character. Mouth is everything social. And spirit is everything it's sort of your internal resilience, your fortitude, your guts, your bravery. And in the case of any cheerleader characters, literally your spirit. So we have a cheerleader in the group, so yay, spirit.
Woo!
But you'll notice that you might be looking at your traits and thinking, hey, this trait doesn't seem right for this type of character. The way it works is you've got traits that are labeled that are ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 is your best trait, not 4. The lowest number is your best trait. So think of it in terms of my number 1 trait is literally the 1 that is marked 1. That's the thing that you're best at, and that'll make sense when we get to the mechanics. The game plays out in a series of scenes like a movie. We will start in Act 1, which is all about setting up the story and establishing relationships. Scenes in Act 2 are all about escalating things, and the scenes in Act 3 are about resolving the story. All the while, there are monster attacks and other things dealing with the monster spread throughout there. They, of course, get worse and worse as you go further into the story, and more common. And there are triggers in place for when to jump from Act 1 to Act 2, and then from Act 2 to Act 3, and it's based on character stuff, and we'll cover that. In any given scene, there's a lead player. We're going to start with Robin. Her character will be the lead character for the first scene. I am the player to her right at the table, so I'll be the director. It's my job to go to the book, to Act 1, and I'll roll 2d6 and add them together and go to the appropriate scene, and I'll give you the name of the scene. And you'll get to choose. There's if you look at the name of the scene, there's also a setup that tells you. You can read that out loud to everybody to kind of give people a sense of what the scene's supposed to be about. The lead player will determine which characters are in the scene with them. They can choose as many or as few as they want, unless the scene says there's a limitation. The only thing is you can't choose the director unless the director is the only player left with a character that's alive, in which case you have to choose them. So that's to free the director up to be able to focus on that. And then the group who's in that scene plays out that scene. It might take a minute or two, might take 3 or 4, depending on how many characters, how long the scene is. It's all role playing, and at the end of everything, everybody will make a trait check that is described for the scene. Now, there are some types of scenes that have different things that happen, but most of them, there's a straight up just a trait check that's appropriate to the scene. Everybody will make a check. Trait checks work like this. Everybody starts with 6d6. Everybody's got their dice.
Yes, sir.
That's your life pool. Those dice represent your character's life. When you make a trait check, you will roll all of them. And the trait check will be versus a target number, typically 3, 4, or 5. And you're going to be trying to get as many dice as possible to hit that target number or higher. The number of dice that you need to be successful is equal to your trait rating. So if your body is your best trait because it is ranked 1, you only need 1 success on all 6 of those dice. So hence, that's the twist on the traits being lower. The lower it is, the less successes you actually need to be successful. Then we'll make our checks. We'll go around the table, starting with the lead character. Everybody will reveal success or failure. You'll describe what that means for your characters. If you succeed on your check, it means that your character generally succeeded in the scene. You can describe what that means. And then you choose somebody else who's in that scene, or you choose a player who's in that scene and make that person lose a die. If you fail at your check, you describe how your character generally fails at the scene, and you lose one of your dice. And your dice are the count. That's a countdown to your character's death. When you are down to 1 die, then you will give that die away to somebody else and narrate your character's death. And then you'll become a producer, and we'll deal with that when we have our first death. Actually, in the game, it's referred to as being wrapped, because characters don't always die. You might get transformed into a monster or some such. So think of it's always referred to as being wrapped, as in, like, that's a wrap for Robin. She's done with the movie.
You're prophesizing it already.
Just maybe. Each of the characters has a quirk that you've chosen, and each quirk comes with 1 quality and 1 trick. The quality is an ability that kind of bends the rules for you. It's always in play. And your trick is something that your character can do twice during the entire game. So you've got little check boxes there. You can keep track of how many times you use your trick. And then down at the bottom, you also have stuff. You had a list of stuff, and you get to pick 2 of those. And you can use stuff in your game for trait checks to help you with trait checks up to 2 times. Also, you also have check boxes for that to keep track. Now, you have 2 stuffs. You could use one of them once and the other one once, or you could use one of them twice. Doesn't make a difference. But you only get 2 uses to gain a mechanical advantage. The way that works is when you use stuff in your scene, you have to describe how you incorporate using that piece of equipment into the check that you're making somehow or another. And you get 1 automatic dice success, and then you roll your dice. So it gives you 1 freebie.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, makes sense. I think that we covered qualities and tricks, your stuff, all the trait check stuff. The trigger for ending Act 1 is we've got 6 players, right? So it's when we wrap 1 character, or when 2 characters or more are at 3 life or less. So we're going to have to kind of keep track of everybody's life. So, like, when you hit 3 life, let us all know. Because that'll bring us closer to transitioning to Act 2. If I missed anything, I will cover it when we get that hit that point in the story. And we'll deal with the specifics of the monster, and we'll deal with what happens to your character after you get wrapped, when those things happen. All good, everybody?
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds great.
Yeah. Cool.
Alrighty. We know what our monster is. We're going to let everybody who's listening wait a little while to learn that. We do need to do this. Robin's going to start as our first lead character. Let's go around the group and tell everybody who you are, or what. How do you do introductions normally, Alex?
Yeah, that works.
Who you are, what archetype you're playing, what your character's name is.
Empty.
If there's anything important to know about your character. Let's
All
start
right.
to my left with Robin.
All right. I'm Officer Vera Wainwright. Wainwright. It's easier for me to say, right? Officer Vera Wainwright. And I've been on the force for a couple of decades now. I know my way around this town. And that's what's important to know. You respect the law. You respect me. We'll have no problems.
Aaron?
My character is Regina George, the cheerleader. Basically, I'm the queen bee at school, so gotta respect the queen.
All right, Paul?
My name is Xander Flanagan. I'm the loner. My hobbies include writing poetry in black ink on black paper in my dark room that is read best by black light.
William?
I am Jackson Nichols. I am the Joker. So I just love practical jokes and cutting a fool.
And Alex?
I am playing Bud Kushner. I am the stoner. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm into, but beyond that, I'm quite into conspiracy theories and like political, like really radical political stuff. And I can't wait to tell everyone all of my theories and thoughts about current events.
And I'm playing a parent. My character's name is Earl, and he's very concerned, gentleman, worried about all these kids and their lack of respect for authority. Everything was better when he was younger. I'm not sure exactly whose parent I am. We'll figure that out as we play. And you know, basically with the parent and the cop characters, both of us, Robin, we'll kind of have to figure out how we fit into what is mostly a high school group. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Let's do this. Alex, this is your show. Why don't you roll me a d6 and let's figure out what our setting is.
3.
Oh, well, that was easy. It's a school. Every monster comes with a list of 6 possible settings. You can do something else if you want to. You can pick one. You can roll one. We're going to go with a school. So we start with Robin. I'm going to start calling people by their characters' names just so we keep it all straight. Vera is the main character. I'm going to roll some dice for Act 1. That's a 5. Talk to the crazy person. Everybody knows the horror movie scene where the crazy person comes out and starts telling you all about the crazy, all about the horrible stuff that's going to happen. So the characters talk to a crazy person who tries to warn them about the monster, or maybe there's a crazy person, or maybe the crazy person tries to warn them about something else. I'll figure out what that is. Robin, or I guess Vera, who all is in the scene with you?
All right, and the scene is talk to a crazy person.
Yep, and I'll be playing the crazy person.
You'll be playing the crazy person? Okay. I think I'd like Bud to be in this scene as well with me. It could be interesting. And Jackson.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Start. You're at a school and go. It's like an improv game and go.
All right.
And see.
All right, you kids. I was called down here because of some trouble. I know as your liaison officer, we don't always see eye to eye, but I'm here to help you. So, what's been causing all the distress?
Look, I was just playing a joke. It wasn't anything serious. It just went a little too far, and you know that Bud and I are great friends. I didn't actually mean for anything to happen. So
I got a call, a very distressed call from someone who was insisting that someone was screaming like bloody murder here. And this is not laughing matter, Mr. Nichols.
What can I say? I'm good at what I do.
Look, Officer McFeely over there.
Wainwright?
Whatever. You're just a part of the system. Don't you have better things to do, instead of police brutalizing us? We have rights.
I know.
Me and Jackson here.
Not stepping on your rights. I'm trying to do my job, and these phone calls from people saying there's people screaming bloody murder, and I don't know what kind of things are coming out of this. This is not amusing to me. Fix it
right away. Right away. You go to the kids. That's profiling, man.
And you know, it was probably just the crazy old janitor. Like he
Yeah.
always, he has something against me for some reason. I've only spray painted the bathroom once. It was not a big deal. And clearly, Bud here
You
has
did
never done
detention
anything
for that.
inappropriate in the bathroom.
Should I bring him in here? Should I bring him in
At
here
that
and
moment-
clarify things?
Look,
At
I
that
have
moment,
no problem
the
with it.
janitor walks up.
Okay.
Here he is.
All right, let's ask him. What's going on
janitor-
here?
The janitor walks up. You know him. His name. Everybody calls him Johnny. You're not sure if that's his name. Everybody just likes to call him Johnny Janitor. He's about 117 years old, and looks every day of that. He's normally kind of a friendly guy, but he's got kind of a wild look in his eye, and he's looking awfully sallow and pale, like he's seen a ghost or something. Like something's up, and he comes up and he just gets right up next to Officer Wainwright, and it's here. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so pretty. It came for me. It wants to make me one of them.
These days.
It's gonna be great. You have to be careful though. It might kill. It might take you.
All
But one way or
right.
the other,
All right.
it's not gonna be thirsty anymore. It's gonna be wonderful. You're
Yeah.
gonna love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Sure is. Yep.
It's beautiful.
All right. So
And he starts scratching at his neck, and he's scratching at his neck, and he's scratching at his neck, and he pulls away like his fingertips are bloodied.
all right.
It seems like that's the problem, ma'am.
Sorry to bother you, kids. You guys have a good day. I think we figured this out. We're good. All right. I'll let you guys be, and I'll take it as a prank phone call, write it up in the paperwork, file it. We're fine.
And make sure that it doesn't say that I'm the one that made the prank call. I've had some issues with that before, but
Right.
it explicitly was not me that made this one.
All right. All right. I'll be sure to note that.
Thank you.
And we'll call that a scene. Everybody's going to have a trait check. We're going to start with Robin. Talking to the crazy person is a mouth check, target number 4. So everybody rolls
Okay.
all of their dice, looking for 4s and better. Everybody who's in the scene.
Ooh.
All right, I've got 3 of them, and my target number for mouth was 2, so I succeed.
Let's start with Robin.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
Okay. I got 5, 4,
Oh.
4s or better, and I had a target of 2 as well, so I succeeded.
So you're
Surpassed
good.
it. Mhm.
How does that? Everything goes well for you. Well, you ended up with Johnny Janitor.
Right. Well, I've had enough interactions with him over the years that, after we've had a few conversations, it all tends to play out the same way. He starts talking about how, yep, they've come for him. It's beautiful. And I just nod and smile. He's appeased. We get through another day.
Okay, and you make somebody in the scene lose a die.
Yeah. I'm going to I'll make Jackson lose a die.
I deserved it for jumping the gun.
That's
Sorry.
okay. And we'll go around the table to Jackson.
Okay. Yeah, I had 3 successes, and my target number was a 2 on that one for a mouth school. So I also succeeded.
And you'll make somebody lose a die because you succeeded.
Yeah, I'm not big on the police, obviously, given my past. so right back at you.
All right.
And Bud.
All right. I have a mouth of 1. I had 3 successes. So I have to choose somebody to lose a die.
You have to choose somebody. Somebody in the scene loses a die. You choose.
Well,
And for the
Sorry.
record, it is written. For the record, it's written as you choose someone in the scene. It doesn't say someone else.
okay.
I'm just saying, and that comes into play. I've had people kill their characters because they wanted to be a producer so badly. Everybody's gonna die anyway. What's the point, right?
Yeah,
But,
I think for the balance, I'll
ahead.
take one from myself because the 2 of them already lost one. So
Okay, that's gonna make Regina our lead character, and for the next scene, and Robin, you're the director.
Okay. So that means I rolled a figure out the scene.
You roll
is that-
2d6 for
Yep.
in Act 1. Yep.
All right. So it's a 6. and I'm pulling this up. It's a little hard to scroll it, sorry.
It's okay.
F1C, number 6. Party! All right, so you want me to read the setup for that, huh?
Yep.
It says the characters have a party. Define a reason for the party. Play out what happens there. So there you go. Regina's having a party.
Who's at the party?
I get to choose who's at the party?
Yep, you're at the party. Who else? And you can't pick Robin.
I can't pick Robin? Perfect.
Can't pick Vera.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I definitely don't want the cops there, so I'm going to choose shoot, I already forget the names.
Hey, I'm gonna throw it here just to keep myself in the mix here. I'm Regina's father.
Okay. I'm gonna say William's character, Alex's character, and Paul's character.
Okay.
Who did you say?
Everyone but Robin and yourself.
Okay, so Jackson, Xander, and Bud. Okay. Kick it off, Regina.
So having a party because my father Earl is out of town. Sorry, Paul's distracting me with his secret messages to the people. He's feeling repressed in his message, and I've invited all of the local seniors in high school because that's what you do. Even inviting the losers, like. And I made sure to invite Bud just because I needed to make sure there's some good stuff at the party, if you know what I'm saying. So.
I think I'm going to throw this in at this point. I have this sidekick quality that I have a hero, and I think that Xander is my hero, and the reason is Xander's like my hookup.
Oh, Xander's your hookup?
Yep. So
good.
I'm Xander's sidekick, and I also talk his ear off about like Noam Chomsky and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that's kind of funny because I also have the sidekick quality, and Bud, you're actually I'm your sidekick. I'm very jealous of you.
So I'm a loner with a sidekick who has a sidekick. This is great.
This is going to be an interesting party.
Going to engage a different archetype now. All right.
So, I guess I'm not sure what more I should be building.
Well, I mean, we've established that what the relationships of the characters are. You're at the party. Just a little bit of role play of what's going on at the party. Kind of start to establish.
Yeah. So there's some music playing. There's a bunch of people dancing, and there's some activities being taken place in the garage, where I think the majority of the cast is probably hanging out. And I believe that I would be going in there to try to get some of the enjoyment that they're partaking in, and trying to get that for me and the other Queen's Court, so
Regina,
trying to go bargain.
Pretty dope party you got going here. I always thought you were such a square.
Well, I know how to throw a party once in a while, but sometimes if I scratch your back, you're gonna have to scratch mine, so
typical.
I'm facing the corner of the garage and looking at nothing, but I'm wearing headphones because I can't stand the music they're listening to.
I'm mingling. Everybody at some point in their life has probably been picked on by me or had a joke pulled on them, but I'm still pretty friendly with most everybody, so I'm just kind of mingling around in the crowd.
I'm like trying to like angle you, Jackson. You were with the party, or you were with me when we at the school, And I'm telling this story about this pervy Johnny the janitor. He was like screaming about beautiful girls, and he was hanging out by the bathrooms, and oh my god.
Oh, Johnny's been harassing me so much at work, at school lately. I can't even get past it. Like, I'm really about ready to go to the liaison officer about this, because it's becoming a problem.
Did you like attack him or something? Because he was like bleeding or something from his neck. He was pulling off these nasty like scabs or scars. It was gross.
Well, that definitely wasn't me.
The one piece of joy I get from this though is that stupid officer Vera. I bet she has to go back to the station and fill out all sorts of paperwork, and it's probably just ruining her day. Probably won't get to see her kids or her grandchildren or whatever.
I pull off my headphone and I say, "Joy is meaningless," and then I turn back into the corner.
Yeah, exactly. What he said.
Hey, are you guys talking about Johnny the janitor?
Your happiness is an illusion.
So this is like kind of like the director. You can.
Okay.
Everything's kind of rocking and rolling. They're having a talk. They're having a party. Everything's good. You can call the scene if you want.
Okay, yeah, because it just said no special rule, and I was like, do I just wait for it to play out, or do I do something here? Sorry.
Right, but a role playing scene, if people are role playing, it can go forever.
Right. Okay.
We find a way. It's just as a guide for everybody is like find a good point where like a conversation kind of wraps, or maybe there's a stinger comment that somebody has, like when that would have been like that might be the point where the scene cuts. Just a thought. But anyway, we got a party going on. Everything's rocking and rolling. So, Robin says cut as the director.
There we go.
And,
I will say cut.
Gotcha. And we go around the circle around the table from Regina, and everybody has to make a check. Robin, what's our check?
It's a spirit check because it's a party, it's TN4.
Target. TN is target number.
Target number 4.
So my quality is my TN is always 3 for spirit checks. So
yep.
So luckily I hit a 3. So
I do a special,
So Regina.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Regina.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Regina.
Mm-hmm.
You said you hit a 3, and that was like your special thing. So right? Okay.
Yep.
So does that mean Regina decides who loses a die because she made the?
If you succeeded, yeah.
Yeah, she succeeded. Okay.
All right, I'll choose. I will choose Bud to lose a die. Because he didn't hook up the Bud.
Ooh.
That's true. I toked up before I got there.
And then Xander.
My special quirk is that I'm psychic. But I didn't need to re-roll because I ended up rolling 4 4s or above, and I only needed to get 3. So
you will make somebody lose a die?
I'm going to make Regina lose a die because she does not respect Morrissey enough.
Jackson?
I also succeeded, and Regina's not really one of my favorite people in the world. She's way too up high on the totem pole for me. So how about you lose another dice there, Regina?
All right.
Awesome. Going after the cheerleader first.
Oh, yeah.
And Bud.
Got to take down the queen somehow.
I have a spirit of 2. I had 2 successes, so I think I just barely hit it.
Yep.
I'm going to... I hate to do it to my hero, but, Xander was sitting over there with his headphones in, and I had some really good stuff about the military-industrial complex I wanted to tell him, and he wasn't listening at all.
I heard you. And I hate your corporate existence.
All right. We go to this now, we'll see what happens. Xander's going to be the lead character. Regina, you will be the director. So, Regina, we need a scene.
All right. Scene 5.
We
We
did
already did that one.
We did that on one already. You can re-roll or move up or down one, but we've also already done party, so you could do
I'm
number
just
4 if you want, or you
Reroll.
can re-roll. Okay.
All right, 9. So investigate a noise.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect because we might still be at the party, or it might be some other time. It's kind of up to
Xander.
everybody here to decide. So who's Xander? Who's all in the scene?
Okay, I am going to pick Bud and Officer Vera and Regina's dad.
Earl.
And why am I hanging out with the stoner and the 2 adults?
So give us the director. Give us the investigate a noise setup.
All right, so the characters investigate a strange or unexpected noise. The strange noise is never a cat. So I think that what's going to happen is that Xander and Bud are leaving the party to go make a friendly exchange at the local park when they happen to come across Earl and the liaison officer having a lovely stroll during the night in the park. And then they hear something coming from over by the what do they call it? Like the slides and stuff. Like the big structure that has like slides and stuff.
Playground equipment.
The playground equipment. There you go. That's good. That's a good name for it. And sorry,
that's strange. What did you call it? A playground?
Yes.
This is absurd. This is a role-playing game, sir.
Stop using jargon.
Yeah.
You and this finagle language. I mean,
yeah.
All right. So there's some noises coming from there, and the Bud and Xander are going to be behind a large oak tree that is about 20 yards off and about 20 yards from the path, making their exchange, and then Earl and the liaison officer are going to be walking by, and then the noise will happen.
Okay.
All right, so I got my hands deep in my trench coat pocket because I'm wearing a black trench coat with a big collar, and I like to affect a bowler. And
Are you smoking a cigarette out of one of those like cigarette holders? Those, like,
I am
ones?
now. Yeah, and I just say, look, I know what Dr. Chomsky said. I just don't agree. And then I also heard everything you had to say about the industrial complex. I just heard you say it last week.
Well, it's still true this week, and it's gotten even worse. Have you seen defense spending?
Everything gets worse. What's going on here with Officer Vera and Regina's dad?
Earl is a single father, and he's out having a walk with Vera.
Oh, with Vera.
Yeah.
Not Officer Vera. That's interesting.
No, just Vera. Actually,
Not in uniform.
Vera. He calls her V.
Yeah.
Is Vera in uniform or not? Okay.
It's after hours. I'm
not
walking in the playground. Come
Not
on.
in uniform, but always on duty.
That's right. That's right.
And I see what's going on with these two fellows over there, and I immediately kind of turn to V, and I know she's about to snap into always on duty mode, and I'm just hey, I know you see it too. It's just a couple of stupid kids. It's going on all the time. It's just let's not ruin our evening.
Yeah,
we're having a perfectly nice time here.
That one was giving me a hard time today at work. I had to go back to the office. I almost didn't get to our date because I was doing paperwork for the paperwork I was telling you about.
Yeah, but my daughter thinks I'm out of town, and if you leave, then I'm gonna have to go home and explain why I'm home early, and it's a giant pain in the ass.
All right. Well, if it were anyone else, but because it's you.
I reach into my pocket and I stop my Walkman cassette player and switch my Louder Than Bomb Smith cassette and just slam it shut and hit play.
I'm going to pass you some money because I want to make this deal happen. I'm going to just blatantly disobey the law and just start token up because I know how much it's going to piss her off to have to deal with me.
No, that I can't. Do you see what that young man is doing over there? I can't let this happen. You want your daughter to be exposed to this type of person?
Earl plants a kiss on her to stop her from talking. And director, feel free to interject anytime you want.
We haven't gotten to the noise yet.
That's what I'm waiting for you to do.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So,
just a quick note, just so everybody's aware too. Like in each of the scenes, there's also a section marked director. When you're the director, make sure to read that because it sometimes gives you like direction on something you need to do or that you might be able to do. You can choose to do.
Okay. So in the middle of the kiss and the middle of the money exchanging, just like that, I imagine that kiss is going down just like Paul.
Yeah, it's so romantic.
You know, the most romantic kiss in the world. And there's going to be a noise that sounds like maybe something that the janitor Johnny was describing earlier could have been hiding behind the playground equipment and maybe mauling something.
Oh, Xander, this is some pretty fast-acting stuff. Oh my God, what was that? Do you hear that? Did you hear that?
All I heard was the voice of God asking me how soon is now.
Good Lord.
And then for inexplicable reasons, I start doing the Charlie Brown dance.
At this point, I realize that there's a noise to investigate, and there's no amount of sweet Earl kissing that's going to stop Vera from snapping into on-duty mode.
And I don't have my service revolver, but I do have a flashlight that's unfortunately a little low on batteries. I'm just trying to get it to work to shine a light over and see what might be going on. I'll protect you, Earl.
I will go along as well. Earl's not handy with a flashlight. And so we go to check it out.
All right.
What do we find? And do the kids roll along too?
I'm going to follow Bud at this point because I am really into the synth sounds of How Soon Is Now right now.
Wait, follow me in taking this pipe?
I'll take I take out the cigarette out of my cigarette holder and like I've got it set to be a one-hitter. So I just grab a roach out of you and then go. All right.
Let's just go check out this gnarly noise, man.
Why?
So everybody creeps up there.
Because I have money.
What do we find, director?
There is going to be a behind a tree just beyond the playground equipment. There's going to be a shadow of a figure that's just out of view when you kind of catch the corner of it when the light or flashlight flashes on it. But then the flashlight dies, and then all of a sudden there's a large rustling, and then kind of like thud, like consistent thuds as it runs off into the distance.
Oh, and it's gone.
Like thuds?
Like heavy feet running, multiples. So like 4 sets.
Dude,
4 sets.
I think Slender Man's on a date.
Is that scene? Is that scene?
I was gonna wait for reactions, and I was gonna call scene, but you can call scene there.
All right.
I roll my eyes at Bud.
All right, I guess that'll be scene then.
Alrighty. So I guess we start with Xander.
And I roll what?
Range
trait? Yeah.
TN4.
Good. Who's first? Is it me?
Yes,
Xander.
Okay, I made it. and I've never seen a horror movie where the cop makes it to the end. So, Vera, you're losing a die.
All right. Yeah.
Bud.
All right, so with the using of stuff, I have to declare that before my roll, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to use the pipe, weed, and lighter to give myself an auto success on this.
Who's your hero?
I'm the Xander.
Xander's your hero. He succeeded, so you succeed.
Okay, I don't have to do any roll. Okay.
You make
Awesome.
you make no checks.
Oh.
Xander
Thanks,
succeeded, so you
Sand.
succeed, and you make somebody lose a die.
Oh. Robin already lost one this scene. I'll choose Earl.
Oh no. Okay. That is my turn. Yeah, Earl's getting up there in years, and he doesn't have the best eyesight, so he didn't get a good look at it, but he's ready to get out of there. I succeeded on my check, and I am going to make Bud lose a die.
It's not looking good, man.
And Vera.
Yeah. Okay. So with my quirk trick, do I have to? It says I can wander off and remove myself from a scene. Do I have to do that before the scene cuts?
You can do it at any point before you have to make a check.
But not this point.
Yeah, you could. You could look
Okay.
at like we're
I'm
all
gonna
we're all
wander
looking
off.
at, we're all looking at the creature or the thing or whatever it was that we were all looking at, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like you just creep out of the scene. You're not there anymore.
Right. I'm following after it. Nobody notices I'm gone.
And Earl is
that.
really dejected.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I had to figure
exactly.
out what was going on.
So
Sorry.
she creeps out of the scene. So
She'll understand.
She doesn't have to make a check because
Nice.
she's removed herself from the scene. So now we move to Jackson being the main character, and Xander
Is the director.
is the director.
Okay, so I roll 1-6.
That's
Or
a 7. Yep. Add them up.
Oh, roll a couple
Okay,
sixes.
2d6 and add them up.
Okay, so I got a 4. We haven't done that yet, have we?
That's yeah, we haven't
And
done
no.
that.
Okay, so I say the setup right away.
Yep.
The characters discover something out of the ordinary. It might be evidence of the monster. It might be something weird or gross. It might be a strange smell. So now the lead character chooses who's in the scene, right?
Yep. And director, make sure to pay attention to your director note.
Yes.
So
I
Jackson, you decide who's in the scene.
Yeah, so for just kind of plot purposes and kind of cohesiveness, can we do a all play? Can we all
You
jump
can
in
do
this one?
everybody except Xander.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it-
fine. Yeah,
is not
yeah,
in the
that's
scene.
right. They're right. Yeah, so everybody with Xander, let's all hop in this one.
Okay. Sounds good. So, yeah, the scene's called "Discover Something Odd." So we could easily enough pick up where we were. I guess it's kind of up to you, Jackson. You're the lead character, so you kind of help set the stage of what's going on. But it could be like immediately after the scene we just had, because we were discovering something odd.
Right,
or we
definitely.
were investigating a noise, and so now maybe we discover something else, and some of the characters just kind of shift in and out, and we end up with this group.
Yeah, so
Or it could be something else. It's up to you.
I'm actually on the playground where everybody was kind of chilling out at. I was there doing a little bit of tagging on the inside of the slide, just some typical graffiti stuff. And then I see Vera kind of wandering back away from the group. And that doesn't seem right to me. Why would the old guy, be hanging out in kind of this wooded area with these two teenagers? So I definitely am going to approach Vera and hide my
Earl?
spray can away. And I'll come up to Vera and be like, well, why is he there alone? with them?
Well, Earl. He's not really alone. I mean, we were kind of together. But did you just see something go by here? There was something that came running this way. Did you see it?
I thought I saw something, but I don't know what it was. And then, like, right as it left, I saw Regina's car pull up. So, like, I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
At this point, Earl walks back out of kind of where where you had left him, Vera. And he's walking across the the sawdust or the sand or whatever that's in this kind of edge of this playground area, and leaving footprints in there. But you see, like in the waning light of that flashlight that's kind of flickering off and on you, that he's leaving footprints that are bloody. He walked through blood.
Oh, whoa! Stop! Wait!
He stops.
What did you walk through? Look at that. There's blood.
Oh, is this dog shit? He goes to look. He goes to do the scrape this shoe off.
I know the look of blood. That's blood.
It's definitely not spray paint.
No.
Like I can tell you, there is no spray painting going on here. Absolutely none.
Were you spray painting?
No. Look, there's blood. Are we not?
It's on your head. Okay.
As he is explaining this, a 6'1" blonde woman with piercing blue eyes and a black leather pants with stiletto boots, for no good reason, walking over the wood chips of the playground structure, walks out and she says, "What is the problem, officer?" "My friend was just painting, weren't you?"
Oh, she's with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at her.
She puts her arm around. "We just going for a walk, all right?"
Oh, yes, yeah, as we often do at night around this time.
Are you that exchange student from, where was that? Where were you from?
Ukraine.
Yeah. That's right. Welcome to the United States.
Bud's kind of wandered.
I feel
over.
very welcome. Your president making me feel very good.
Bud's wandering over and he's just like, "Jackson, what up, buddy?"
Hey, man, you see who I'm with?
She licks your ear.
Yeah, what's up with that? She's licking you, man.
Yeah,
You got ears made of candy.
It's all the rage in the Ukraine. Isn't that where you said you were from?
Yes, Ukraine.
Hey, Jackson, is this Eastern European only, or can I have a two?
Hey, back off. Why don't you go try to get with Regina?
Earl is sufficiently creeped out by this woman. He's starting to back on out of here, and he's kind of tugging at Vera's sleeve and well, it's getting awful late. We should probably get back home.
Well, I think I should
kind of eyeing this woman.
Check out the blood trail, and you kids behave yourself.
You walk me home now, right, Jackson? You walk me home?
Of course, anytime.
Regina will walk up to the situation and see the Earl with Officer Vera and kind of yell out and shrieking, "Dad, what are you doing?
Regina,
you're so embarrassing!
Regina, your party sucks so much you had to leave it?" That's just
you guys left without giving me any. I mean, what party? I don't know what you're talking about.
The party over at your house. We're hanging out in your garage. There was a keg. We're drinking all those bottles.
While this dialogue is going on, the blonde woman goes in for a kiss on Jackson, but it's a neck kiss.
Okay. Are we doing what I think we're doing?
I believe I get to do a monster attack.
Yes. Okay, so this is what happens. He's just turned this into a monster attack with our
Oh no!
Clearly a vampire, right?
Yes.
Everybody.
Well, no. Sexy vampire.
Oh, specifically a sexy vampire.
Yeah.
Good clarification.
This is why I have strange and exotic accent.
At this point, everybody wants to try to probably make sure that they have a copy, like a second copy of the PDF open, and you want to open it up to Sexy Vampire and keep to the monster and keep that handy.
Advice.
Mr. Director, do you have a copy?
I have it open right now to Sexy Vampire.
Okay, so the way whenever something becomes a monster attack, it works a little differently. There's not just one trait check to make. Every character gets to choose the trait they want to use in order to deal with the monster. So you can pick any of your 4 traits. And don't forget about your quality and your quirk and your stuff and everything. You can use whatever trait you want, but you'll need to describe kind of how you're doing that. Whether it's physical or social or mental or just
If
gutsy.
we were in person, we know how many dice everyone had.
I know exactly how many dice everybody has, and we only have one person that's at 3 right now.
Okay, who is that?
That's Bud. Yes.
Is anyone at less than 3
No.
or more than 4?
I have more than 4. I have 5.
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
And I'll do a check first because I'm the lead. Is that how that works?
So yeah, basically the monster attacks everybody.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
It's kind of abstract.
Gotcha.
It's a vampire. They're super fast and they zip around and they attack.
Sure.
At some point, everybody's getting attacks. But we start with Jackson. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to choose Spirit because that's my best trait.
All right. So if I can use a trick here, right? Out of turn.
You can, yes.
Okay, I'm going to use my trick on Jackson.
Okay, what's your
Ego
trick?
boost? It does, instead of making a trait check for the scene, choose a character in that scene. The character rolls 2 extra dice on their trait check. If they succeed, you succeed. If they fail, you fail.
Okay, so Jackson's getting 2 extra dice on your check. Spirit check is kind of, it's your inner fortitude, it's your guts. You're just like standing up to the danger, not necessarily fighting back against it, but just like, come and get me. It's all balls.
Nice. Yeah, that is a super success.
And director, what's our body target number for the monster? The monster has all the target numbers listed. They're different for different traits because some monsters are easier to defeat physically, some are harder to outsmart, all that kind of thing.
I'm on according to my PDF, I'm on page 41, but page 40 of the book, and I'm looking for that right now, and I don't.
Body
Sexy vampire
is
Yeah.
5.
Do you see on the upper
Where does it
right?
say? Oh,
Sexy
body. No,
upper right, body target number 5.
body target.
TN 5.
Oh, TN5. Okay.
Yep.
So, okay.
So how'd you do, Jackson?
Thank you.
Okay, gotcha.
You follow director?
I had 3 successes.
Okay, and how many do you need?
Oh,
Just
wait,
one?
sorry. For body or...
Well, I'm sorry, not for body, not for what.
Yeah, the TN for spirit is 4.
Target number 4. Sorry,
Oh, gotcha.
Got
Okay, yeah, I had 3 successes.
and you only needed 1. So you're good.
I succeeded, yeah.
So you succeed and make somebody lose a die.
I still am not 100% sold on why Earl was hanging out in the woods. I didn't really believe there's reasoning there, so I'm going to make Earl lose a die.
Okie dokie. That's Jackson. Now it's Bud. Or who was giving the trick to? Well, we'll get to you. Okay, so Bud.
So, a question about stuff. I've got the pipe, the weed, and the lighter. Can I toke up twice to give myself 2 successes this round? No, you can only use it once. Okay, I'm using it once. Oh, this is gonna be rough. This might be the end.
Some smoky courage.
Smoky courage.
With the smoky courage, that gives me 2 successes, but I need 3. I have a body of 3.
Oh no.
Kids don't do drugs.
Okay,
That's
so you're
right.
gonna lose. You're gonna lose one of your dice.
Could have been worse. She could have been having sex.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna be mine. Earl's a coward. He's gonna run away, and it's gonna be a body check for him.
Body is 5.
And he's going to actually make that check, even though his body is very
Whoa.
poor. He's an old fat dude. I rolled.
Just my type.
It's actually, you know what? It's 5 or better. I only got 3, so he just barely failed that. So he starts running away. And he's running and he's running and he's running and he slips and he falls like right in that big pool of blood.
Ooh.
She's on him.
Falls, right
Like
into
with
it.
that weird vampire flash. And then
And I lose a die of my own.
sparkly.
Oh, no.
And then it's Vera.
All right, so I can choose which one I use, right? Is that what you're
Yep.
saying?
Choose
and
which one you want to use.
I want to use mouth, And
That's
I
a
also,
season 3.
yeah, I want to use a stuff. I'm going to use my flashlight, and I'm going to shine it on this lady and say, "Hey, you leave that Mr. Nichols alone. You get off of him right now." You know. So I'm being very intimidating.
Okay.
This works.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh! All my 4 dice were better than. So I succeeded. Yay!
Okay. So you make somebody lose a die.
I confuse
Yeah.
flashlight for sun.
Yeah. It's even with the dead battery. It's kind of in the middle of the night.
Not sure of your American ways.
I'm gonna pick Regina because I don't really appreciate how she reacted to us being together.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
good thing I automatically succeed due to my trick.
Oh, okay.
And you make somebody else lose.
Obviously, I'm going to choose Officer Vera because she's with my dad, Earl.
Oh, come on.
better
Your
than her.
dad deserves happiness too.
He deserves better.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, it's grim.
That's my girl. That's my girl. All right, that wraps up the scene. That wraps up the scene. We all survived, but we now have multiple characters. Over half the group is at 3 life or less. So we're going to go to Act 2.
All right.
Act 2.
Oh,
Act
and-
2.
Get to this.
And Bud is the main character, and Jackson is the director.
Act 2 scenes? Okay.
Yep.
So I rolled a 7, which means our scene
Oh no.
is another monster attack.
For the record, 7 is always a monster attack.
Okay.
It's that way in every act. But okay, so who's going to be in there with you?
I'm bringing
Bud?
you all in. We're all there at the playground. It seems fitting.
Except somehow Jackson was right next to the vampire, the sexy vampire. Sorry. And Jackson managed to get away, even though he was right next to her.
Yeah, so
Jackson, he's the director now.
Jackson was so ecstatic that he had a very lovely girl all up on him that he ran home to just go and write in his journal all about the love experience.
In his journal.
Yeah.
Dear diary.
This was a Dear Diary day.
I was going to say, like, make an Instagram post, but you missing cassette tapes, so I just, yeah, diary,
No.
whatever.
No, he's retro.
So am I.
But vinyl sucks. It's really about magnetic tape spooled on
Okay.
efficient little squares.
Absolutely.
With a monster attack, it's usually pretty much monster attacky. So we'll all talk about how we're dealing with the monster, and again, it's just like last time. We pick what trait we want to use, and we start with Bud.
All right.
So we're still in the playground. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Bud, you can set that up.
Yeah, we're in the playground, and right. Let's see. The sexy vampire is. Who did she last attack? Was it Earl?
Who did she last attack?
Yeah, like where did we?
I want to say
Vera.
Oh.
Regina.
Oh yeah. Okay,
That was successful because Vera.
Well,
scared off.
the last check we made was Regina.
Okay,
We didn't technically make a check because she was.
Okay, so
Using a trick.
she's munching down and kind of clawing at Regina, and Bud moves over to Officer Vera, who has been an adversary for him the entire time. But now Bud's like getting into that like paranoia, like freak out stage of his high, and he like runs over to Vera and he's just like, "You must have a contingency for this. Don't you have like some silver like spray something? I don't know how vampires work. Vera, help.
I got these handcuffs. I mean, it was,
Metal could work. Get her!
They might be silver.
Those are chrome.
Look, I was watching the news the other day, and there's this Russian spy, Maria Butina. I think that's her. She's been dealing with like the Koch brothers and like getting all their info. Get her! She's a traitor.
Your anniversary gift is maybe silver. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, help.
Okay, so Bud, what are you trying to do? You're basically trying to, I guess, get Vera to fight for you.
Yeah.
Is that a mouth thing? What's your trait check? Bud. Which trait are you using now?
My mouth.
Okay, sure. So you're
Yes.
you're talking somebody else into fighting for you.
Yes.
Go ahead, make a check.
Okay.
And your target number's a 3 on this one.
Oh yes. Okay. I'm gonna light up real quick before I make this check.
Jeez, man.
That's my last use of it. I might as well. Okay, I make it. My mouth is 1, and I got 3 successes. So.
Okay, so make somebody lose a die. Somebody in the scene. Anybody but Jackson.
I'm going to choose Regina because she's done. She's already been dead. And her party sucked.
Whoa!
Next up is me, Earl.
How many
Earl
guys
sees
does
his-
everyone have left, by the way, in the scene?
I have 3.
I have 2.
I have 5.
Okay, I'm gonna use.
We have 2 5s, so 2 3s, and 2 2s right now.
I'm gonna use my my trick again for the scene for Paul, or I guess for Xander. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Whenever that comes up.
okay. So Earl's turn. Earl sees that like people are his daughter's here and there's danger. So this is like now he suddenly becomes not a coward, and he goes running over to stand up to the vampiress, the sexy vampiress, and says, "Don't you go near my daughter!" And he plants himself between the vampire and Regina. This is a spirit check. He's just putting himself in harm's way to save his little girl, his baby girl.
That's nice.
All right, the target number on this one is 4.
I still hate you, but that's
And I'll make that. And I'll make Bud lose a die.
Down to 1.
No.
Oh.
Bud, are you a producer now?
Not yet.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, at 1 I am. Okay.
At 1, you give that die away to somebody.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna give it to Xander.
All right.
That stuff he sold me, it really made these last few moments go down smooth.
And Bud, how does Bud die?
Well, when so Vera goes to grab her handcuffs and everything, but she didn't have the safety on her gun. And she was in a panic, So when she went to grab the handcuffs, the handgun goes off and shoots Bud, and he just is laying there. He's like, "I knew it! You're the devil! You're the devil!
I thought
This
I
is
left the
police
gun at home. I'm sorry.
brutality!"
Didn't even know I had it.
And there's all that blood there, and Bud, go ahead and go look at the vampire page.
Yep.
And look at the rap rule for the vampire. And you keep that in mind as we're moving forward. Bud is lying there, bleeding out, and that I don't know, probably attracts the vampire.
Oh yeah.
You look good that way.
And then we go to Vera.
Well, after killing the teenager, I still have the handcuffs. Unfortunately, the gun is no longer useful because it only had 1 bullet in it, and so I am going to go with my stuff, which is my handcuff with no key, and I'm going to make a physical attack on the sexy vampire and try to handcuff her. Because that's gonna work. So I only need a success of 1, and the handcuffs gave me an automatic success. So do I have to roll?
Nope.
Oh, goody! Yay! I handcuff her.
And you make somebody lose a die.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Xander.
Really?
Because...
Why?
Well, because he's kind of getting on my nerves with all the emo crap.
Haters gonna hate.
And it's Regina's turn as the vampire continues to fly around attacking everybody.
So after my dad stepped in, I kind of took a step back, and since my quality is self-assured, I do have a switchblade, and I kind of pull that out of my back pocket, and I go.
The cheerleader, yeah. There's some.
Cheerleader's gonna save the world.
There's some out of character. There's some weird out of character stuff for some of the characters, and you know what? The cheerleader player always takes the switchblade. Always.
Oh, I mean,
that's been my experience.
Yeah. Gotta take the switchblade, right? Like.
Yeah.
So I will. I'll kind of go and go towards Xander, so that way there's multiple of us in the same area, and kind of try to be defensive. And so that way, if they're going to come at us, they're going to have to come at us in multiples. So.
Okay. Is that a body check then?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I used the trick already to go off of Xander's. Do I have to go then?
No. So you go off as Xander. We have to wait for Xander to take his turn. So you're
okay.
Pending Xander. So Xander's turn.
All right. So Xander is going to use his body and just sort of nonchalantly, like, look, this isn't, he finds his moral courage there. Not moral courage, actually he finds a moral center. Life is unfair, and I've had enough of bullies and people who don't understand me, including vampiric Ukrainian women. And I'm going to pull out a gun. I have a gun with no ammunition. And I'm going to pistol whip her with a body check.
And you get two plus dice, so.
Okay. So what's the TN on this one?
For body, it is like 5.
Yeah.
I have 4 of those, and I only needed 1.
There you go.
Nice.
So you succeed, make somebody lose a die, and so does Regina.
Regina succeeds, right?
Because Xander succeeded.
Do I succeed before Xander, or does Xander succeed before me?
Xander succeeds first because he rolled.
Okay. I am going to take a die from the po-po. Sorry, Robin.
It's only fair.
Regina,
I still stand by the idea that the police never make it to the end because of authority.
Yeah.
All right, so you have 2 dice left, Robin?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm still hellbent on you and my dad being together. I have to take your second to last die.
Oh no! Now we've got a sexy cop vampire.
That's Vera's dead. Vera, give away your die to somebody.
I'll give it to you, my love. I'll give it to Earl.
Nice.
All right, Vera. How does Vera die?
Well, in attempting to handcuff a vampire is not a very good idea. I left myself open, and she swooped in and got me, and it was like this moment of maybe Law and Order is really not the way I want to go. Maybe I want to go chaos. So there was this moment of giving in to the inner demon, and now she's kind of turned.
So the vampire comes and gets you. Bud, when you went out, there were 5 players remaining. Make a note for yourself. Use a die or something, or just write down on a piece of paper. You have 5 producer points. And refer to the producer point list. There's 6 things that you can do. You can do 1 per scene. You don't have to do 1 in a scene. You spend a point to do one of the things on that list. Once per scene. And Vera, you're gone as well.
Yeah.
And when you went out, there were 4 players left, so you have 4 producer points.
Okay.
And now Earl is the main character. And here's the interesting thing too. Now, Earl's the main character. The person to my right is Bud, who is a producer. So you're now the director-producer for the scene.
Oh,
you get to do both. And we are still in the scene in Act 2 because we still we haven't hit the triggers for Act 2. The triggers for Act 2 are half the characters are wrapped, or all the characters are at 3 life or less.
Okay.
Only have 2 characters wrapped.
So I roll 2 dice to determine the scene?
Add them together, yep.
All right, 6. The fake-out scare. The setup is that the characters venture into a scary situation together.
All right. I'm gonna take. This is the point where, like in the previous scene, the vampire attacked, killed Bud and my lady love. And Earl grabs his daughter by the arm and just bolts and just drags her along to get out of there. And we're gonna say Jackson comes with them. And Xander, because he's a loner, goes off by himself. So Xander's not there, but Jackson and Regina are there with me. Xander's off, hating the government or something. Listening to Depeche Mode.
Oh.
I guess I'm cheering up.
Okay, so we're running through the we left the playground. Let's say that this is we never get far from the school, right? So we're like right by the grade school. We're like in between the grade school and the high school. There's a parking lot, and there's a basketball game going on at the high school. So there's a lot of cars in the parking lot. So there's a lot of things to kind of hide behind, and we can't see people and things that are moving around. So we're just making our way through there. And I'm just at this point, asking Regina, we kind of get down in between some cars and kind of duck down, looking around to see if the vampire is following us. And I'm saying, baby girl, you okay? And he's checking her out to make sure she's not like going to turn into a vampire.
Dad,
or otherwise injured.
What were you doing with Officer Vera? Like, she's not even close to being good enough for you.
Regina, baby, I don't think this is the time to be having this discussion.
This is the exact time to have this discussion. And I'll kind of storm off, crossing my arms, and
he starts Earl starts following her.
So, and I'm between all of the cars, and I'm drawing phallic symbols in the dust in all of the cars, because I know there's a lot of people at this basketball game, so I'm sneaking around.
As you're doing that, the car starts to like move and rock back and forth, like very violently.
Oh, not like a van is rocking, don't come
and
and knock him kind of
you
way.
hear like nails on chalkboard kind of screeching from within the car.
I immediately jump back and go, I've only seen this in movies. I don't know what's happening. Oh my god! What is going on?
So the windows were kind of foggy, and you were like doing these little dick symbols on there. You can see if there's 2 people banging in that car.
Oh, wow!
I'll go around and start knocking on the windows and like ducking out of.
You just hear like a muffled sound saying, "Little privacy, please."
I'll run to the other side of the car and knock on the other side of the window. And eventually I'll get bored of that one and head to another car and start doing the same thing.
I see Jackson walking around doing all that stuff, and I look to my daughter and is like, this is the type of people you hang around with. We just got attacked by some crazy commie bitch, and he's running around drawing pictures on cars.
Ukraine.
We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. We need to get home. We need to find a safe place. We should probably go into school.
Not until we talk about what you and Officer Vera are doing. I don't understand.
Hey, Regina! I thought your party was awesome for the record.
Earl says, "What?"
Jackson, shut up!
You hear a voice from behind you say, "No, your party sucks. And now I will too." And then the monster attacks.
Okay, monster attack. All right. Earl's still in full-on dad defense mode, so I'm going to do the same thing I did last time around, which was to put myself between my daughter and the crazy commie lady. There's a spirit check against what's my target number, Director?
4.
Yeah, I make that handily. I'm going to make Jackson lose a die because this artist needs to go away.
So now it's my turn. I'm going to kind of encourage my dad to keep on fighting and try to talk him into continuing to fight for me. So I'm going to do a mouth check.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to, as a producer, increase the stakes here, and I'm going to increase the target number to 5 for your trait check, Regina.
Oh, no.
Just because I want to add some drama to the moment, and really make it intense.
So I need to have 5 hits?
No, your target number is 5.
Target number's 5.
Okay.
You need hits according to your trait.
Okay. Can I use my other, the slam book to guarantee a successful trait then?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
I
better
write some main things about the vampire in your book.
I did not get there. I only got one with the
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
Oh, no.
Regina loses a die.
And I'm done.
And
I
you
have
give
one
that
left.
away to...
I'm going to give it to Earl. I have to give it to my
thank
dad.
you. Earl's back in the game. And,
So it's Earl, Jackson, and Xander.
yeah. Regina, how does Earl's baby girl die?
So,
Or
Earl,
or
despite his
get attacked
best,
by a vampire?
besides his best efforts, could not stop the vampire from getting around him. And as Regina was trying to coax her father into protecting her, she gets tackled to the ground and viciously, her neck bitten and blood sucked out.
And Earl screams, "No!" in the background as Jackson...
I will plead with my fake girlfriend. Please do not attack me. I know we weren't actually dating, but we had some great chemistry when we were trying to blow off that cop. Come on. I think you and I can really, really, really have something here. Come on, what do you say?
You'll be prettier after.
I get there. Because that was mouth, right? So that was target number was a 3.
Yep.
Yep. So I get there. I talk my way
So
out.
you've got to make somebody in the scene lose a die.
Yeah, you're the only person left alive, right, Earl?
Oh, left in the scene right now. Yep, that's me.
So lose your die.
Lose a die. And that kind of wraps that up. And Xander is lead character with Regina being director and producer. Regina, you get 3 producer points.
3 producer points. All right. So we triggered to go to the next stage now?
Yeah, now we got half the characters are dead, so we are triggered to Act 3.
Act 3.
All right. Let me get to Act 3. All right. I rolled a 7.
Oh,
Nice.
Kind of perfect. So,
Xander, who's in the scene with you?
Everybody that can be.
Okie dokie. And 7, as always, is a monster attack. But Xander, you get to kind of set the stage for us.
All right. And I can have this be anywhere I want.
You can start to just it can be a continuation of the previous scene. It can be like a logical a logical new location for it. It could be something like, I mean, you think about these things kind of in terms of like movies as well. I played in one where somebody so drastically switched the scene up in the next one that we treated it like there was a reel of film missing, like there were in some of the old Grindhouse movies, and we just cut to like a completely different thing. But so it's entirely up to you.
As much as I love that, and as much as I want to have I don't know if anybody's seen this film, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
it's so great. I want to have a moment like that, but I'm not prepared for that. I think we need to end where we kind of began, and so we're going to run back to the school. And and the reason is Xander goes, "This all began with Johnny Janitor. We need to find Johnny Janitor." And we run back to the school to see if creepy Johnny Janitor's in the school. So we run back there.
All right, so Earl is hanging around with the Joker and the Loner. Runs back into school like he suggested we do. We should safety in numbers and all that. So there's a basketball game going on. We run in there and we're running around the corridors looking for the janitor. Meanwhile, there's the sounds of the squeaks on the floor and cheers and kind of.
No one has noticed the pretty Ukrainian vampire.
Who's floating through the room without moving her, or floating through the corridor without moving her legs. She just...
Is she glittery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, she's sexy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess we start with Xander now. It is a monster attack.
So I start like the scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've set where we are. With a monster attack, you typically kind of roll. It gets rolling into the monster attack pretty quick. You can you can build it up a little bit more, or you can dive right into the attack. Or
I want to go right to the locker room.
Okay.
And is it a men's basketball game?
It's up to you.
It's a boys' basketball game. So we run to the boys' locker room. They're on the court right now, and we are looking around because. For some reason, Janitor Johnny, always was kind of cleaning in there. Maybe he had a little private stash of something in the locker room, and that's where I'm looking for him because I know where everybody's got their drugs.
Sure. So we run to the locker room
because of dear old Bud. All right.
Director, you want to jump in? You want to set us up?
So they walk their way into the locker room, and quickly they hear a locker slam, and they kind of go around the second row of lockers, and they see Johnny kind of quickly scatter around the corner, and they go to approach him as they see him kind of trying to hide out of view.
Johnny, did you know the Ukrainian girl was a vampire? I'm just going right to the chase.
That she was almost my girlfriend.
The Ukrainian girl, yes.
Johnny, she was never going to be your girlfriend. Let's be real about this.
She licked my ear.
Yeah, she licked a lot of people's ears.
She licked mine the wettest. Just like those wet willies I used to give you back in grade school.
Every day is Monday, Johnny. Just own up the fact that you're never going to marry the vampire. Did you know? Does anyone have a wooden stake? Anyone? I've seen movies. I'm really into vampires because I'm kind of goth.
Earl goes to the sports equipment locker, the little storage room, and starts digging through stuff, and he finds wooden floor hockey sticks and starts cracking them over his knee, snapping them into stakes.
Nice.
And starts tossing them out to everybody, including the janitor. He throws one to the janitor, and it just bounces off his chest and lands on the floor because the janitor's high on Bud's stash, because the janitor knows where everybody keeps the drugs, too.
I'm going to use a producer point here.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to use the producer thing on the sexy vampire. Undead Bud came back to his stash and was in the locker digging around. And how many dice does everyone have left?
I have 5.
I have 4.
4.
Okay, I think it's better if it's Xander.
His hero.
So Bud, vampiric Bud, is digging around in the locker and like comes up right behind Xander. He's like, "Oh, look at this charming man!" Ah!
And this is sexy Bud, right?
Yeah, this is sexy Bud. He's like ripped like his shirt in half, so he's got like his belly showing, and it's not that sexy, but he tried. And so Xander loses a die.
Xander, have you been working out, bud?
What are you doing?
I'm going up behind Xander and attacking.
No. What?
The
How are you
rap-
making somebody lose?
Isn't that what the Stone Cold Sexy? When your character is wrapped, they become a sexy vampire. You can inject your character into a
Oh,
scene.
right. Okay, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, we just need to be. I wanted to be clear for the listeners and everybody too that he's using the rap rule where he gets to inject his sexy vampire character back into a scene at some point and cause somebody else to lose a die in the process.
All right. I'm out of
Can you
die.
only do that once?
Each producer can do that once.
I feel like I'm going to have a visit from the ghost of officers present or past. Sorry. Soon.
Okay,
right.
so I guess vampire needs to show up here. This is a monster attack. So Xander first. As well, I mean, technically, it doesn't need to be the Ukrainian woman. This could be Bud doing the attacking.
Yeah.
We still don't have a name for her.
Her name.
What asked?
Her name is Svetlana.
There we go.
Her name is my girlfriend.
Ah,
I'm just gonna assume she's the foreign exchange student.
yeah.
That was what I assumed.
Yeah. Okay, so we established that. Hey, Xander, Bud's attacking you.
Bud. Now, et tu, Brute.
We can hang out for forever in darkness, like you always talked about.
That's fair. I put up no resistance.
Okay.
So is that a body check then?
I mean, technically by the rules, you should be making a check. But if you want to put up no resistance and just lose a die, go for it.
That's what I'm doing. It seems like what he would do.
He chooses to fail his check,
Yeah.
and then it's Jackson's turn, and we both witnessed this.
Oh yeah, well.
While he's
but-
doing that, I switch cassettes to the Cure Disintegration.
So Bud was my hero. So I'm going to attempt to talk him out of his madness, and to do that, I am going to use my can of spray paint, and I'm going to attempt to offer it to him. Hey, Bud. You know that thing that you and I always wanted to do before?
I still want to.
Yeah, you wanna do a little huffy with me?
Yeah,
Yeah. All
I
right.
do.
So I'm gonna make use my producer point to make the target roll 5 for this
Ooh.
check. So it was going to be a 3, but now it's a 5.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, and I got no successes.
See, I'm undead now, so I can huff like an incredible amount of paint to keep up with me. There's just no way.
Even from beyond the grave, you can outdrug me.
Earl grabs 2 of his stakes and shows his true colors again by deciding to get out of there. He no longer has his daughter or his girlfriend to fight for, and it's just these 2 bozos. So he is going to, while they are all engaged with talking to this guy and just giving into him like Xander's doing, he's going to very intelligently just kind of slip out of the room as quietly as possible. This is like a brains check. He's using you guys. You guys are being idiots and getting yourselves killed. He's just going to kind of like, oh, right, there's no reason for me to do anything. I'm just going to be smart and get out of here. I'm going to have a brains check. That's going to be a target number
4.
Brains is 4. Sorry.
I am gonna fail that, even though I had a pretty good chance of doing that.
So
And
even though you're trying to get out, Bud senses that you're trying to get out of the way, and he goes and cuts off your exit.
Oh man! And we go. We continue on with Jackson as the main character, and Xander is Xander's supposed to be the director, but I think just to keep things simple. If you want, we can let Regina be the director so that everybody can be in the scene if they want to do that.
I'm okay with that if you are, Robin.
For time.
Oh, wait, Regina
I'm not
is...
Regina.
I'm sorry, Regina is William.
Aaron.
No, it's
Aaron.
Aaron.
Sorry.
Yep,
Come
Aaron,
on. Come on, Paul.
be the director again.
Aaron's
I'll-
not
I'll-
on my list on the side here. I don't see
Yeah, I
Aaron.
don't see you on mine either.
Okay.
So. I think
Okay.
you changed your name at some point, and that's why I don't see you.
Grumpy DM now. Okay.
Regina, give us a scene again.
All right. Let me re-roll. So we got a show some guts, which I think fits the scene where we're at pretty well.
Scene 4.
Scene 4.
Give us the setup.
So setup is characters draw on their inner courage to attempt to deal with the monster once and for all.
So yeah, this is a. Hold on just a second. Oh yeah, director, you have your notes on what you should do.
Yep.
So basically, yeah. So for the group of us, this is just like we're going to all bolster ourselves and get ready. We're gonna take care of this. But those of us who are in the scene, of course, Jackson, who's in the scene with us or with you?
I think everybody needs to be both of you.
Okie doke. So we're still kind of hanging around. Are we still in the locker room, or did we go somewhere?
I think we have left the locker room and we're more outside towards the crowd, and we're just gonna look around and see if there's any other vampires or anyone that has been turned into a vampire hanging around that we need to maybe warn some of the crowd about.
Okay. So we're a little more in the midst of the crowd. Jackson, this is show some guts. This is like us all kind of getting our act together, and we're gonna stand up to the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Lead us, Jackson. Lead us.
Hey guys, we gotta get into the game and warn everybody. I think that's where all the vampires, I think they're mingling in with the crowd. I think it's up to us to go into the basketball game and just stop them.
All right. Yeah. We can do this.
Maybe.
For Regina. And he starts handing out
For
his snapped off steaks, and so everybody has one.
Okay. So does that count as stuff for us?
No, it doesn't count for mechanical
Okay.
purposes, for mechanical
Just narrative.
purposes, but for narrative, you have a steak.
Okay.
So we'll enter the basketball court, the gymnasium area with our stakes, probably behind our back. We don't want to scare the crowd necessarily, but we do want to get in there and try to figure out a way to discern who is a vampire, who is not, and also get the non-vampires out safely.
All right, well, I start surveying the crowd, trying to see if there's any vampires among them, looking for Ukrainian women and strangely pale students.
I'm wondering if I could use the Stone Cold Sexy and be looking for you guys in the
Sure.
gymnasium. So I'm following up on, I'm liking the dark side, and I'm looking for you, Earl, because I want you to join me on the dark side.
Ooh.
All right, so
Now we have a
I-
sexy police officer.
And everybody knows me here, so just letting me glide right
That's
through.
true.
Earl remarks, for the record, she was always sexy, and loses a die.
Hello, lover.
And the cat pops in.
I know, right? Sorry, that is so not sexy. Come on.
And what's everyone's dice at now?
I'm at 3.
2.
2 for Earl. 3 for.
Yeah.
3
3 for the others.
3
Okay.
for Xander.
Hey, director, do you got something for us?
Yeah. So the introduction of Officer Vera into the gymnasium, who got let in, has kind of caused a sudden stir of screaming and chaos once she attacks Earl, and Earl tries to defend himself but kind of loses his stakes that he had because he was trying to welcome his what he thought was dead lover back to his life, and
Earl's a mess.
Xander and Jackson kind of witness this and get into the defensive after Vera is done with Earl, that he or she goes to move on to the other boys because she remembers how much of a pain in the ass they were towards her in the past life. So
this part's just vengeance, boys.
yes, it's vengeance.
I switched tapes to Bauhaus. Now I'm going to get aggressive.
Nope.
Skinny Puppy. I'm playing Skinny Puppy, and Einsters and Newboat, and then we're going. Kraftwerk. It's all.
I
All right.
see the attack on Earl, and I'm afraid that I'm going to be next. So I'm going to preemptively use my other stuff, and I'm going to put on my very, very creepy, deformed, scary mask to kind of try to blend in with the crowd, which is odd because I'm clearly like the most deformed person there, but in my weird lapse in judgment, I'm scared out of my mind. I think this is the most logical thing to do.
Okay. This is a monster attack, and with this particular type of monster attack situation, if you use guts, to do this, because the scene would show some guts. If you make this a spirit check, you get 1 automatic success on your dice. Or you can use any trait, but if you use spirit, you get 1 automatic.
Okay.
And I'm first.
You start with Jackson, right? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So even though I am very scared and wearing my monster mask, my school is at stake right now. So I'm going to try to muster up all of my courage, and I am going to attempt to storm the announcers table and rally everybody together and get as many people out of here as humanly possible.
Humanly,
All right.
Spirit
check is 4.
No, is this a mouth check?
I was actually gonna ask if I'd stretch the rules a little bit. So even though I'm a little bit of a prankster, I've tagged the school, I've done stuff to the parking lot. At the end of the day, I really love my school, so I'm gonna try to use some school spirit to save my school. No, is that too much?
That's fine.
Okay,
you get one. You get 1 automatic.
Cool.
All right. It's 4 for spirit.
Okay. Ooh. And so I got all of them are hits, and I needed a 1, so I didn't even have to roll.
Oh.
But I rolled it anyway and got 4 successes.
So who loses a die?
I think Earl's got to die.
Oh.
So minus
Earl's gotta die. Goodbye, Earl.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and give my die to Xander.
Thank you.
Earl sees his lady love, knows that his daughter is dead, and just falls into a blubbering mess. And puts up no fight. He doesn't invite it, but he doesn't fight it. And
just give in. It's
Vera looms over him, bends down and bites him in the neck and just tears his neck apart, and just blood sprays everywhere. And there's a pink mist, and the crowd goes wild with screaming of fear, and everything really kicks off. And I get 2 producer points, and Earl falls over, very, very pale. Xander.
I flip the tape deck over to Bela Lugosi is Dead by Bauhaus. And start going, let's dance. And I grab any of the wood shards from the field hockey sticks that are near me. I've got one. I put them in. I've got a lot of coat pockets because I'm wearing a black trench coat. And so I'm ready to roll. Let's go. Who's the closest vampire to me?
Whoever you want.
All right, it's the Ukrainian. And so
Svetlana.
Svetlana, she has a name, jerk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I put my bandana on, tight, my black bandana, and I tie it around my neck for extra protection, and because, it's cool. And so I'm going to just body attack.
Okay.
Which is stupid.
Fight 'em off.
I've seen it. I know what the TN is 5, right?
Yep.
Oh,
all right. When I use stuff, that gives me 1 extra die, right?
1 extra automatic successful
One
die.
extra. Yes. So I have 1 success.
How many did you need?
I don't. Oh, for body, 1. Yeah.
There you go.
Did it. Okay. Yeah.
And then you make somebody lose a die. Who's that going to be?
There's nobody, right? Or is it just?
No,
Are you still alive?
Just Jackson.
Jackson, you're
I'm still alive. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh,
And Jackson loses 1. Jackson, you're at 2, right?
I am.
Xander at 4.
Yeah.
And we'll just swap out Xander. Regina, are you cool with continuing to be the director for everybody?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay. Xander's the main character this time, and we need a scene. And we've got a lot of producers with a lot of producer points.
Oh yeah.
All right, I rolled a 10. Going to war.
All right.
Refer to the monster for trait checks and TNs. Setup. The characters arm themselves to fight the monsters physically.
I've got all the hockey sticks.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's what Xander was doing.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Xander.
I'm Buffy the Vampire Slaying up. I've got
Perfect, Xander.
Yeah.
And I got, I've got Peter Murphy in my ear. Bela Lugosi's dead, and I'm feeling like I can kill all these guys. And so I've got 4 stakes in my hand. That's making me feel pretty confident. And at this moment is when I realize that all those weird times I felt I knew what was going to happen, I was always right. And so my quirk of being psychic comes into play, and I am going to be able to precog. I can reroll any die. So I'm again going to try. I'm going to try physical again.
Okay.
And just throw. Again, I feel like if she's not the first, she's close. She's patient 0. She's the Ukrainian. So I'm going to throw my 4 die. I have to get 1 over 5, right? And I get to reroll 1 because I'm precog.
Yep.
Body's 5, yeah.
I have to reroll.
Wow.
I missed.
Oh.
I lose a die. All right.
How many are you down to?
3.
Okay.
That's the Xander I knew.
I'd like to use my producer. Oh,
no. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, I have 2 left. How many do you have, Alex?
I have 4 left.
Okay, you can use yours. That's fine.
Well, I was going to use a producer point to be like right behind Xander, be like, hey, man, I just learned this Ukrainian vampire, she's deep state, and I'm not cool with that. Look, I know you sold the last of your stuff to me. I'll give it back. I still got it. But I want some of that delicious juice box stuff you got going on. It's like way better than what they got going on with the basketball players. They're icky.
I got you.
Can we do a trade?
Yeah.
Quick trade? Okay.
We do a quick trade.
I'll take a point or one of your die.
Okay.
So Xander's
I suck a little bit of blood, but not too much. like a fair amount.
All right.
Jackson's turn. This is it, Jackson. This is the moment of truth.
I know.
Somebody's dying.
All right. So I, in my moment of courage, I grab one of the steaks and I rush over to Bud and I say, Bud, I always respected you, but after what you did to all of these people and what you're going to continue to do, if I don't stop you, it's going to be bad.
Producer point. Our budget got cut toward the end there, and we lost all the wooden stakes and couldn't replace them. So you need to make something cheaper.
Okay.
You're fighting with something cheaper now.
So
cheaper than a wooden steak.
Paper straws.
Yeah, that's
number 2 pencil.
Actually, tongue depressor from the nurse's station.
I'll glance around and I see on the ground are just juice boxes, littered juice boxes, and I will crush one of them, make it flat, and kind of have it as a shiv almost, like a flattened juice box, and I just like
cardboard.
Yeah. Like
5,000 paper cuts.
This cardboard's made out of wood. And
Producer point.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use negative audience test to force Jackson out of the scene.
Okay, so Jackson somehow escaped the scene.
Whoa.
Wait, hold on. This says that they're not using wood to make these juice boxes anymore. God, it's changed since I was a kid. I just
Xander, there's a lot of THC in your blood, man. There was a guy here, I was talking to him, and he just disappeared.
Okay, so I lied. We did not have a death there because Xander got out, or Jackson got out of the scene. So,
nice.
We roll to the next scene. Jackson's the main character again. Xander has to be in the scene with him. Regina, give us a scene.
All right, 6. Sorry, I had to search for the producer points to figure out what else I could do with them.
Yep.
Scene 3, Act 6.
Act 3, Scene 6.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Dyslexia sometimes. Ready for the end. The characters look at their wounds and empower themselves to continue on. Anyone who succeeds at their trait check makes someone else lose a die or gain a die for themselves. If this scene comes up a second time, it instead becomes a monster attack. No special rule.
So you guys, you escape and you're gonna kind of get your
kill or be killed.
You're gonna get ready. You're gonna get ready for the end.
All right,
Xander. This is it. Make it or break it. If we don't, defeat these vampires, the whole town, and including us, could be turned. And I know you like the dark. I know you like the paleness. But some of us, man, we really like to just go outside and enjoy the fresh air and enjoy the sunlight. So please, for once, just think about the enjoyment of your fellow man. I know you're into philosophy. Isn't there something about do no harm unless harm's done unto you, or something about enjoyment, or I don't know, whatever those books say you read.
You don't know anything about me, but you're not wrong. And I hand Jackson my 2 steaks, and I say, I'll go be a distraction. And then I just throw my cape wide, or my trench coat open wide, bat style, and then go run at the vampires and go, I'm yours, and then just run at them, and whatever advantage that gives him or whatever.
Well, it becomes it plays out as a mouth check.
Okay.
For everybody, starting with Jackson.
All right, mouth check.
Okay.
Now, can I use a producer point here and do a character rewrite so that he has to use a body check in this?
You can.
Am I able to do that? Because I'd like to see this young man show his strength.
Paul or Jackson?
Jackson.
Sorry.
Jackson.
All right.
Yeah.
Jackson's got to do body check, which is
So I'll read.
We know he's
just
all
for the
talk.
drama.
Can he really prove it?
That's right. So my body is actually 4. So I am
My
just.
body for me is 1.
You can't succeed at that check.
I cannot succeed at that one at all.
Oh.
So
Oh,
what I'll
no.
do is I will attempt to stop Xander from rushing head on into certain death, and I try to grab at the coattails of his trench coat, and I just fall flat on my face. Just eat concrete.
And you lose the die,
That's 2, so I'm down to 1.
and you give that away to somebody.
Well,
Xander.
Oh no, this is not
And how
great.
how does Jackson die?
So I'm laying prone in the parking lot. I'm there, and then as I'm just fading in and out of consciousness, I see a beautiful face of my fake girlfriend. I look up at her, and I'm like, "Sweetie, it was almost real, and I feel like I might not last much longer. So could I have my very first kiss?" And then
Is the-
she bites my neck.
I'm not.
God.
And
I will
Jackson's
bring you
gone.
to the light.
And now we are left with Xander.
Oh, I did not think this was going to happen.
Paul, it's no longer about rolling scenes or making trait checks. You are the remaining character. There are no rules here. How does the movie end? What happens?
I take out the Bauhaus tape. I put in the Smiths. We start hearing the Smiths louder than bombs as the soundtrack.
Producer point, we didn't have enough budget money to throw any more like well-known popular music in there, so you need to give me a made-up name of a band that doesn't exist because they're cheap.
Okay, so there's this hot new indie band in Indianapolis named Vampire Weekend that I've been really into for the last couple years, and they've been doing a lot of
Producer point. We couldn't
right.
afford them either.
Okay, Vampire Weekend. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's a real band, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I was about to. Yeah, that is. That is straight up.
I'm 45. I don't even know.
I thought that was intentional.
No, I'm that old. I'm gonna go with we can't produce. Don't spend your producer point on that. We're gonna call them Nosferatu.
Excellent.
And they only sing in a in an Americanized German accent. So they're really like Deutschcore, but fail at it. And so we'll have that as the soundtrack for Xander as he grabs the last of the steaks from Jackson and say, "This is for you." And then I push it into his chest, stopping him from becoming a vampire. I grab the other one and displaying a ability that I've never had seen, no one has ever seen before. I start tossing stakes at vampires, and then at the end, I go live in a cemetery. While I watch nothing but reruns of Say Anything and cry a lot.
The end?
The end.
Very nice.
Very well done.
I'd watch it.
One?
I mean,
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie.
One thing left to do. Paul, for playing Xander and for surviving this story, even though your character is probably the one who would have welcomed the darkness of the undeath.
There's irony there.
Yes, you survived it. The prize for being the survivor is you get to give this movie its name. What's the title of this movie?
Oh,
and if you
nice.
can't think of anything, or you want to, you can also option out to have other people give suggestions, and you can pick your favorite one.
I have a couple names, but I'm going to leave it alone. I want to hear what everybody else came up with.
Let me think.
It's got to involve the foreign exchange student somehow, right?
Yeah.
She was sort of the main vampire.
Yeah. That's where my name went on mine, but I'll wait.
And you can go ahead and just suggest.
Go ahead. You
All
did.
right.
You won.
If you got something, throw it out there.
Ukrainian pie.
Okay, there we go.
That one's pretty good.
That's good.
And that is the end of Ukrainian Pie, the first in what will certainly be a delightful franchise. So thank you, everybody.
Many of these.
That is Die Laughing.
That's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Made system.
That's the game, everybody.
There's already a Nosferatu band. Oh my god!
I had to ship it. I had to ship the Google link. So.
But they weren't reviewed by Pitchfork, so it's not real.
So,
okay.
As I was telling the chat here, now that we're done with the game, Craig here is the creator of Die Laughing, and his Kickstarter for this is going to go live on Tuesday. So we have him here, and if you have any questions for Craig, if you have any questions about the game,
or questions in general. I mean, I'll take a shot at answering anything.
Anything. Shoot
Craig,
shoot
tell me a little
way.
bit more about the deep state.
So, one of my questions.
Deep State is an Austrian death metal band.
I'm
Why did that
expecting
not occur?
the link. Come on.
There it is.
So, Craig, one of the questions I always ask the folks that come on here is, what are some of your influences in terms of like the mechanics and things like that you threw into this game? What are some of the other storytelling games that you really looked to when you were putting together these rules?
Well, the game is, I mean, if you guys have played like Fiasco or any of the game, like story games like that, where there's a mechanic that isn't really like, Fiasco doesn't have traits for your character. It just has a dice mechanic where you gain these different dice of two different types and you roll them and they give you different results. And so I kind of wanted to do something like that, but I also thought, I'm not purely a story game kind of person. I don't know those games that well. I've played a few here and there, but I don't know them that well. So this game kind of was intended to be like a little bit of a hybrid. Like you get a character sheet, you've got traits and a few cool abilities, so it's recognizable to a typical traditional RPG player. But then everything resolves a little more. If you're not making trait checks for every action. You're making a trait check for the whole scene. And I'm trying to think about this game was so long in the making because it went through a bunch of different iterations. I'm trying to think I got in my head the inspiration for the dice pool, using a dice pool that would diminish as you went, and that becomes a countdown. And you don't see it as much when you're doing an online game like this. But one of the things that I've noticed when you play it at the table is you've got let's say 6 people at the table, everybody's got 66, and you've got a bunch of people that are rolling dice. And depending on if you play it where everybody goes ahead and just makes their trait check by themselves and you go around the table and everybody announces success or failure, you have this thing where when at the beginning of the game, everybody's rolling their dice and it's loud because there's all these dice. And by the time you get to the end, there's 2 people rolling 3 dice and it becomes much quieter. And I think that's that's a neat effect that takes place when you've got everybody at the table and everybody rolls together. Go ahead.
Can I just say that I was shocked at actually how well that translated into Twitch, because I felt it as we were checking how many dice we had. I could hear that. Mm-hmm. So as you're describing it, I think you're probably obviously you would be right, but at the
it's more noticeable at a table with everybody, but sure, you can hear the dice.
I can tell you, I felt the pressure. And that sense of my options are running out, and my allies are disappearing. And actually, as every ally disappears, the adversaries increase. It's a great dynamic, and I really appreciated that.
And I just bounced around with like a bunch of different ideas for mechanics about, rolling multiple dice and adding them together. And then as you go down, you have less dice. So when you're adding them together, less, you're getting a smaller result. And I mean, I tried, like I said, this went through like 5 iterations of different things. It was a card game at one point. It was a more straight story game at one point. It was a more traditional RPG with a GM. I don't honestly remember exactly where the diminishing dice pool specifically came from. I think it was just I tried so many different ideas and I finally hit on something that felt right. And then I just explored that.
So you'd said that this game is a long time in the making. I think the thing that I liked the most about it was the director role piece of it. How there was one person that their characters pulled out, and then they were just kind of like, it kind of gave it that cinematic feel a little bit. I'm wondering, was there a particular movie that you watched or a moment that you can remember where you said, like, Die Laughing is a game that needs to be made? There isn't a game like it. I need to make this game.
Well, the idea for the game came just from playing horror games in the past, where if you play a horror game where characters can die, as opposed to like a thrillery kind of moody atmosphere game, if you're killing characters, one of the big questions is like, okay, well, what do I do when my character dies? And so I went through iterations of different things that the players could do after their character was dead. And there came a point where I was actually watching a horror movie and was thinking about like, okay, these characters are dying off. And I was just like in my head popped in like the idea of like, it takes a lot of people to make a movie. You've got to, so the idea of making this not just a horror comedy story, but a horror comedy movie, like all of a sudden that opened up ideas. It's like, okay, you've got to direct. That solves the no GM thing because you can pass the directorship around. It solves the when players go away, when players lose their characters, they can become producers. And I toyed around with other things too, and I have ideas for like alternate roles where you could, instead of becoming a producer, you could become an agent for one of the characters that's still remaining. And so you're constantly working to keep that character alive. That's like an alternate rule thing that I might come up with and you do that and you keep, all of your little things that you can do on the side are to try to keep your character alive because you're an agent. You're going to get paid if this actor becomes a star. Right. And they need to survive the movie to become the star. So yeah, it's just a lot of little things. Like the movie idea was the thing that really made it click this time around, like a little over a year ago, where the movie idea floated in and I started, and then it fell together pretty quickly after that. Like everything made sense all of a sudden.
Yeah, I really like the producer point thing. Was kind of cool to like keep all the people like involved. Especially, I don't know if it was just our scenario, but obviously with vampires, the mechanic that we had on our monster was to insert your character as a vampire back into the scene. That was kind of fun. Because everyone wants to see their character like come back into the story somehow, and the undeath thing allows that to happen.
Every monster has a rule like that. It's called the wrap rule. So it always has to do with like after your character is wrapped, and it's different. Every monster is different. There's a few different monsters where your character remains. Like there's a zombie monster where your character can become a zombie. And you can reinsert, your zombified character into the story. And then there's, every monster, there's different ones too, like the Mad Slasher, which is kind of, your Freddy Jason kind of character. The wrap rule there is after your character is wrapped, at some point before the end of the story, you can introduce your character's corpse to be discovered at an inopportune time, like often happens with the final girl as she's running for her life at the end of the movie, where she's just constantly running into the bodies of her dead friends. And there's a mechanic that goes into that. There's like that player has to make a check, every time they discover the corpse of a dead friend, or they lose life in the process. And there's, it's just like a little something different every time. Those were a lot of fun to come up with because it was always kind of finding like, okay, what's the shtick for this particular monster that kind of makes them unique, or for this subgenre of horror, because each of the monsters that are in the book are kind of like a spoof version of a classic horror movie monster. So that sometimes there's just something. It's often something related to like that subgenre or type of movie.
So you've done. You had mentioned you've done a number of Kickstarters, including Capers and a few other things. What do we have to look forward to with this Kickstarter? For Die Laughing?
The Kickstarter for Die Laughing is really bare bones. The game is small. It's going to be 70. It's planned out at 72 pages, 6x9 book, black, white, and blood and guts red. for the look of it. It's in layout right now. Artwork is underway. This should be a very quick turnover. The Kickstarter is only going to be about 3 weeks long because I'm not going to run past Thanksgiving, because that's kind of pointless in Kickstarter world. Because once you hit Thanksgiving, people are doing Thanksgiving things, and they're saving their money for holiday time and buying presents and doing holiday stuff with family and friends and everything. So Kickstarters tend to slow down in December. So this is just, but it's a small game. It's got a relatively low funding goal. The backer level is $10 whole, gets you the PDF of the game and a discount link to buy a soft cover for super cheap at cost. Nobody gets any profit. You just pay. It's like $3.50 or something like that for the paper, binding, and ink to make the book, and then shipping. Of course, you have to pay for the shipping, but the shipping's only like $4 or something like that in the U.S. Just like international can get nutty. So international backers, I thank you for spending the $10 and getting the PDF, because you're probably not going to want to spend the money on shipping for a little bitty book, because international shipping is getting out of control. But who knows? Maybe. That's the rundown. I mean, it's a relatively low funding goal, one backer level, 3 weeks. I have contingencies in place for maybe doing a little something if it blows up really in crazy. But if it should be able to fund without too much difficulty, just because of it's a relatively small scale project.
Craig, I had a question about the traits for each of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed there's some overlap, but not every character had an overlapping ability. Was there a reason why there was some overlap between some characters and not every character had a secondary person that had a similar characteristic? Or
what are you referring to specifically?
Like the sidekick, I believe Bud and they both had sidekicks, but I don't believe that there was another person that necessarily had the self-assurance or the... I kind of looked through and I was trying to look for similarities. It didn't look like every character had a shared one, but there was a majority of them that had one.
Yeah, there's some shared quirks between two different characters, because there's frankly there's only so much that can be done with the mechanics. To give every character, there's 16 characters that are in the book. You guys only saw 11 of them in the preview edition. There's 16 total, and to give every one of those characters two unique quirks. Each quirk has a quality and a trick. That I found to be the mechanics are so simple. It's hard to get that much variation without, like I said, kind of repeating yourself. So I took some of the quirks that seemed like they were appropriate to put with multiple characters, and just split them out like that. And every so often, we had two sidekicks in this one. That's actually, in all the playtests that I've done, that's the first time that I've seen a duplicate quirk in play. So it doesn't happen, at least in my experience, it doesn't happen terribly often. But it's one of those things that it might occasionally. There's a quirk in there called the Jerk that two different archetypes have, where it's another one of those ones where you choose you choose another character. When you're the Jerk, you choose another character who is your insult target, and you gain benefits when they suffer.
All right, I got one last question before we wrap it up here, Craig.
Sure.
We connected with you because we played Dream Chaser with Pete Petruccia's game.
Yeah, Pete's great. That's a fun game.
And so I'll ask you the same question I asked him and the Kids on Bikes folks. A game that we need to play on the stream that people don't know about, that more people need to know about.
Threadbare. It is Stitch Punk fantasy. You play broken toys in a broken world. trying to put it all back together again.
That sounds fantastic.
By a woman named Stephanie Bryant, Bryant.
So that sounds awesome. We will look into that and check that out. Once again, Craig, thanks so much for coming on the channel tonight, running your game. It was fantastic. I had a blast. I know I could just tell from the energy. We had a blast playing with you. Hope everyone that's watching that you'll keep on a lookout for the Kickstarter on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. It'll be going live. Solid game. Hope he'll back it. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, help me make a game.
Yay!
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me on the show. It was a lot of fun. Great to meet all of you. Viewers out there, keep an eye out.